Hello. Greetings, Joe from Bitch Mountain, New York. I believe that one to be true. Probably where all the bitches live. welcome to the show, Joe. Welcome anybody else who may or may not be here yet. It's Monday, May the 5th. May the 5th. Oh, we missed May the 4th be with you by one day. Been fun. Howdy from the far side. What's up, Robert? From all the way in Namibia. It's funny. I was just watching this video. It was talking about a cruise that it's a 130-day cruise, costs like $25,000. But one of the ports it hits is Namibia. So I thought, oh, that's cool. Man, I'll have to do this damn cruise, I guess. Everyone's ex-girlfriend lives there. Probably. Yeah. So we're not much to talk about this week, but a couple things. It looks like Trump is going to try and reopen Alcatraz potentially. That's kind of fun. I don't know why they wouldn't. It's kind of a cool prison. I think it would, just spend some money and, re-up it and get it open again. It's a pretty neat thing. I mean, it's obviously now a tourist attraction, but that's cool if he does it. I mean, he's kind of spitballing, so he says a lot of shit and then doesn't really, he says things that he thinks will be cool and he just doesn't do them. Walvis Bay. See you in Walvis Bay. Yeah. And we're going to talk about Carney and his meeting with Trump that's supposed to happen tomorrow. And it doesn't seem like Trump gives too much of a shit about it. He was like, I don't know what he wants to talk about. But anyway, so that's going to happen. We'll see what happens with that meeting. That Trump seems to be throwing shade at Carney about. We'll talk about that. Also, they're offering $1,000 to undocumented immigrants to get the fuck out of the country. That's pretty funny. I mean, if you can't ask them to leave or round them up, just pay them to leave. Maybe a bunch will leave. So they're going to do that. Kind of fun, I guess. $1,000, whatever. You get, even if you got like 1,000 people to leave, it's only $1 million. Not that much. But we'll talk about that. Also, we'll finish off with Toronto's condo crisis. This kind of started with just prior to COVID when a lot of guys were buying these condos and then they're buying them to rent them out. And so they were investment properties, but now they're just nobody wants to buy these shitty little condos. They're only like 500-600 square feet and not all that big, especially for somebody with a small family. So there's a ton of them sitting vacant and costing these guys money every month, guys and gals, whatever. And so bit of a crisis there. We'll talk about it. Before we do any of that, if you're not yet a subscriber and you like the channel, do hit subscribe. For some reason, it's the subscriber numbers have slowed down to a crawl. So I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe we've hit peak mass of this channel. That's it. 428. That's all it's slated to get. But yeah, if you like it, subscribe. If you don't, well, whatever. Also like, share, comment. Comments are huge. The more comments you do on a video, the better the video tends to do. This last video I popped out this week, it did pretty well. It had a lot of comments, so that was cool. A lot of stupid comments, a lot of good comments. There's a mixed bag. Some in the middle. But I just like, even when I don't agree with a comment, I like when it's smart. A smart comment, just I don't know. Before you think to type, think about what you're typing. Maybe before you think to say something, maybe do a little bit of research on that thing. Just make sure that you're not spewing out a bunch of bullshit. But, a lot of good comments from people that I disagree with completely, but pretty smart comments. So thanks for that, everybody that did that. What are you guys saying here? Not going to happen. It's old and it would cost way too much to modernize it. Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't know. Will cost way too much. Just what's a couple $billion? No big deal. Operating still staggering about. I refuse to think before I type. Keep it raw. Yeah, well, you're kind of smart, so I don't think you have to. But a lot of people do. A lot of people have to think before they type because they spew out a lot of bullshit. There was a lot of junk about the election, and Pierre Polyev and things like that. And, there's junk on both sides, whether you're right or left, whatever, right? People will say all kinds of bullshit. It's unfounded. I just try to stay in the center, as you guys know. But whatever. Yeah, I saw that you left one. Thanks for that, Robert. All right. Anyways, let's get into the first thing here. Switch the camera to this one. Boom. Here we go. And here we go. So they might reopen Alcatraz, or so Trump says. I don't know, but he spews a lot of stuff. So he also said that it was, he's kind of kidding almost. But I'm gonna read this article. It's CNN, so don't expect much. It's gonna be about as garbage as you'd expect, I would think. Oops. Trump wants to reopen one of America's most notorious prisons. Here's how Alcatraz earned its reputation. Why am I getting a weird? What is going on here? This is weird. Let me reload this page. What is happening? I got some weird stuff happening with this page here. Oh, whatever. I'll read it. Doesn't matter. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm getting like this weird ghosting thing happening. President Donald Trump on Sunday said he would order the government to reopen Alcatraz, a former prison on a small island of the same name off the coast of San Francisco that once housed some of the most dangerous criminals in the country, including Al Capone, George Machine Gun Kelly, and James Whitey Bulger. What I think they should actually do with it, I think they should just make it a one big like homeless hotel. Get a small little little ferry thing going back and forth that only goes like once a day. So, otherwise it keeps them there. Or twice a day. I guess they come and then, they got to go back. But I think you just house all the homeless. San Francisco has that problem. And maybe the homeless with the all the shoplifting retards. Put them there too. The prison, which closed 60 years ago due to its crumbling infrastructure and high maintenance costs, will serve as a symbol of law, order, and justice, Trump said in a post on Truth Social Sunday, later telling reporters it was just an idea. He had as federal judges pushed to ensure deported migrants had due process. On Monday, the U.S. Bureau of Prisons Director William K. Marshall III said his agency will pursue all avenues to implement Trump's plans for reopening Alcatraz. I've ordered an immediate assessment to determine our needs and the next steps. USP Alcatraz has a rich history. We look forward to restoring this powerful symbol of law, order, and justice. We will be actively working with our law enforcement and other federal partners to reinstate this very important mission. The Department of the Interior referred CNN to Trump's statement, saying the department and the National Park Service had nothing to add at this time. Now a major historical landmark and tourist destination. Alcatraz was once one of the most heavily fortified military sites on the West Coast before it transformed into a notorious federal penitentiary in 1934. As a maximum security prison surrounded by the Pacific's strong cold currents, Alcatraz has a reputation for being a last resort facility where the most dangerous and most unruly and other prisons were sent. It was virtually impossible to escape despite numerous storied attempts. So, there it is. If you don't know where it is, it's just off in the bay there in the San Francisco Bay. You know what? Honestly, I don't think I need to read any more of this. It just talks about a little bit about its history, and then the fact that it's now a tourist attraction. Long-winded article, as most of the CNN articles are, because I don't think they have much else to do, but read a bunch of junk articles. But hey, this is kind of neat. I mean, if it happens, I think it's a good thing. Honestly, you have this stupid thing, this cool but stupid prison just sitting on an island doing nothing, just rotting away. Yeah, why not use it? I mean, it kind of makes a point, right? It makes a statement to say, look, we're about law and order. I mean, when they did have it, when they were using it in the 30s, I guess there was a lot of crime and stuff. So, kind of seems to be the way it is now too, right? A lot of petty crime and bullshit like that. But hey, like I said, throw the all the thieves that are stealing under $1,000, put them in there for a couple weeks and see what they think about that. What are you guys saying? The Rock was a great movie. Sean Connery, Nick Cage, and Ed Harris, awesome cast. Yeah, I like. Oh, there's that one line. I think. Oh, the one line where he says something. He's like, I think it's The Rock, where he says, um, "Losers whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen." He's like, then Nick Cage is like, whatever his wife's name, I can't remember. Anna was the prom queen. pretty cheesy, but yeah, overall it's a pretty good movie. I mean, for that type of movie, if you like, turn your brain off a little bit and watch action, it was pretty good that way. Remember there was 3 guys that escaped from there. They got on a boat and they didn't find their bodies, so they assumed they made it. But yeah, other than that, a bunch of people tried and then they'd die in the water. So, yeah, I know. Prison's a tourist attraction. That's kind of funny. I like the smells in here. It smells great. Lots of great white sharks off that coast. Yeah, true. Also, I think someone did escape. Yeah, I think it was 3 guys. I'm pretty sure 3 guys. There's a story about them. They had a pretty good plan, and I think they escaped, but I don't know. They don't know for sure. They didn't find them, I think, or something like that. I might be talking shit. I might be wrong, but I vaguely remember there being 3 guys that they didn't find their bodies, so they assumed that they got that they escaped. But other than that, pretty much everybody else or everyone else died trying to escape. I don't think they did as much to, like where other prisons have like perimeter guards and stuff like that. Like, I don't think they watched it as much for Alcatraz because they figured, well, fuck them, let them try to make the swim. They're gonna, kind of the trash takes itself out. So I don't think they were, I don't think they had all the guard towers like, manned and shit. So they were really worried too much about these guys getting out. All right. Let me get on the next thing here. Boop, boop. All right. So Mark Carney, our new prime minister in Canada, is slated to meet with Trump tomorrow, actually, Tuesday, May the 6th. And I don't think Trump's all that excited about it. He just doesn't seem to care all that much. I'm going to read this article. This is CTV News. So this is one of our Canadian guys up here, and another pretty junk outlet, I guess. Let me see what they have to say. So Trump not sure what Carney wants to talk about at White House meeting. So U.S. President Donald Trump says he's not sure what Prime Minister Mark Carney wants to see me about ahead of tomorrow's meeting. Trump and Carney are scheduled to speak at the White House on Tuesday in their first in-person meeting since Canada's election. The 2 leaders are expected to discuss the months-long trade war that has fractured their countries' relationship and seeped their respective economies with uncertainty. I guess he wants to make a deal. Everybody does. The U.S. president told reporters in the Oval Office, where he's expected to host Carney, who moments later waved to cameras as he boarded a plane from Ottawa to Washington. Sources tell CTV News that Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly, International Trade and Intergovernmental Affairs Minister Dominic LeBlanc, and Minister of Public Safety David McGuinty are also expected to participate in the meeting. Carney has called Canada's relationship with the United States an immediate priority of his government. The 2 countries' trade war has affected tens of billions of dollars worth of goods and rocked industries that operate on both sides of the border. Trump has also made headlines for questioning something much more fundamental, Canadian sovereignty, by repeatedly suggesting Canada should be a state. I love that he's not giving up on that. I think it's funny. On Friday, his first post-election press conference, Carney repeated his assertion that the 2 countries' relationship has fundamentally changed. As I've stressed repeatedly, our old relationship based on steadily increasing integration is over, said the Prime Minister. Ooh, tough talk from the Prime Minister of Canada. We're going to strap on our boots and get on our horses, and you want to fight, you're going to get a fight. I'll tell you that much. I think it's just stupid when they try and talk tough like that. Come on, man. For one, we share a giant border. Just fucking work it out. Like, go down there, talk, figure it out. Like, it's so stupid. The tough talk is just ridiculous to me. In late March, shortly after the election campaign got underway, Carney and Trump spoke on the phone for the first time as leaders. Carney, who had been playing double duty as prime minister and candidate, put his tour on hold for that call with the president, and the two agreed another meeting should take place once Canadians had a chance to vote. On Friday, Carney outlined the focus of that highly anticipated meeting. Our focus will be on both immediate trade pressures and the broader future economic and security relationship between our two sovereign nations. Oh, let me put our two sovereign nations. Listen, we already know that U.S. is sovereign. We're only sovereign in Canada because we're allowed to be sovereign. So, stop trying to put us on the same. We're not on the same playing field. The two countries are also expected to reopen negotiations into the rules of North American trade in the near future. The Canada-U.S.-Mexico Agreement, or SUSMA, or CUSMA, I don't know what it is, instructs trade between the three nations. It was negotiated during the first Trump administration. All right. Whatever. Who cares? Here's another thing. He's talking about throwing 100% tariffs on films. So I don't know if you know this. We know this up in Canada, obviously. If you're an American watching, you may not know this as much, but a lot of American films are shot up here in Toronto or Vancouver, sometimes outside of Toronto, whatever, but shot up here in Canada because it's cheaper to shoot it up here. And, doesn't matter. The backdrops aren't really going to matter or anything, right? So they shoot their films up here and then they go back and do whatever they have to do in the States. But I guess Trump has taken some exception to that as well. So he's going to put 100%, or talking about it, putting 100% tariffs on filmmakers that come to Canada to shoot. I think that's going to be a little tough. I don't know how they'll actually do that, but it's another threat, at least, to try and keep filmmakers in the U.S. and shooting in the U.S. All this is just trying to keep American affairs inside of America, which I understand, whatever, but doesn't mean he's necessarily going to do it. But I don't know. He doesn't seem all that keen about this meeting anyway. So I don't know what Trump's doing when it comes to Carney. He seemed to kind of endorse him, and now he seems to be kind of snubbing him a little bit, on this the proposed meeting. And I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like the way Carney's been talking, trying to flex and talk tough. I don't know. But if you look it up, these guys kind of have a little bit of a, they're a little bit linked up as far as some business dealings, at least with the Kushners and Carney and Brookfield Capital. So you should look that up. There's a little bit of a story there. Potentially I could do it on the podcast, but I don't know if I want to get into that. It's in the weeds a little, it's getting right into the weeds, and I don't like to do that, but it's kind of interesting to see that they have some, some business dealings in the past. I'm not surprised. You get two fairly important, well-to-do businessmen. Chances are their paths have crossed. Let me see here. One sovereign, consentient. Yeah, continent. Oh well, I thought you said consentient. They're consenting to be sovereign. One sovereign continent. Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Listen, I don't care either way. I have no real pride for Canada anymore like I used to. We need to clean this country up, get it to be a good country again for me to gain my pride back. At this point, it's I have more pride of my personal ownership and what my money's worth and what my buying power is and all that I do for some strange national pride in a country that's fractured. So anyways, all right, let's get on to the next thing, boys. This one's funny. This story kind of tickled me a little. So it looks like they're going to pay people to get the fuck out of Dodge. Get out of the U.S. We'll give you $1,000 to get out. This is kind of the newest thing, I guess. This is their new little gimmick to see if they can get people to voluntarily leave. This is NBC News, so it's complete dumpster fire, but let's see what they have to say. Trump administration to pay $1,000 to undocumented immigrants who self-deport. The Department of Homeland Security is intensifying its efforts to persuade unauthorized immigrants to self-deport by offering a $1,000 stipend and travel assistance. The federal agency announced Monday that those who use the CBP Home app to voluntarily leave the United States will receive assistance to facilitate travel back to their home country, and $1,000 paid after their return to their home country has been confirmed through the app. Not sure how they'll do that, but I don't know. They would have to have some kind of cooperation with the country that they're that these immigrants are going back to. I don't know. There's going to be some malfeasance, and there's going to be some scammery going on. People are going to game the system somehow, but whatever. If it works, if it's even 75% effective, good on it. Whatever. Get them out. The announcement comes as the number of deportations has remained stagnant during President Donald Trump's first 100 days in office. One of the president's key campaign promises was that he would enact mass deportations as soon as he took office. It's funny how they focus on that. They don't focus on the fact that the border's basically closed. You just can't walk over the border anymore. So they don't say anything like that. They're just saying, oh, well, he hasn't really followed through on his promise to deport. Wasn't as important as it was to stop the flood of illegal immigrants crossing the border. So he did that, at least. DHS did not immediately respond to questions about how the funds would be provided or what proof would be required to show the person had returned to their home country. DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin said in late March that those who are self-deporting can use biographical data, documents, facial images, and geolocation in the app to prove that they have left the country. The alien, I like that. The alien must be at least 3 miles outside of the United States to successfully utilize this feature. I like that you said it that way. The alien. While the use of the verify departure functionality is optional, if the alien chooses to use it, they must submit a facial image. It's required. I love that it just keeps using the term alien. It's fun. In a press release, DHS Secretary Chrissy Noem said self-deportations are the best, safest, and most cost-effective way to leave the United States to avoid arrest. A single deportation costs U.S. taxpayers $17,121, according to DHS. The federal agency expects self-deportations to decrease that cost by 70%, even after factoring in the stipend. So far this year, at least 5,000 immigrants have reportedly used CBP Home to say that were voluntarily leaving the country, according to the Migration Policy Institute. DHS has declined to say how many unauthorized immigrants have used the app so far to self-deport. According to app figures, a company that tracks app downloads, CBP Home app, has recently been downloaded about 1,500 times per day. Since the start of 2025, the app was downloaded about 300,000 times, according to the company's CEO. In March, the Trump administration repurposed the Biden-era CBP One app that allowed migrants to enter the U.S. legally as asylum seekers, changing it to the CBP Home app. This version of the mobile app has a self-deportation reporting feature. There you go. The Trump administration has spent $200 million in revamping the app and creating an accompanying advertising campaign featuring Noem to promote the app's use. So, all right, well, carry on. So, hey, fun times. You can get paid to go home. Just go home. We'll give you $1,000 once you get home, and you can buy whatever you can buy in your country with that $1,000. Some of those countries, $1,000, that might be a couple months income for them, or more even. Who knows? So happy. Go home, get some money. What are you saying here? I'm in love with Shiloh Hendricks. Who's Shiloh Hendricks? No, we want Alberta. It's where a lot of the oil is. Yeah. Well, listen, you can't have Alberta, right? It's not coming. Okay. Even though there's, I think it's 37% of people want to break away from Canada. I don't know if necessarily they'll want to become part of the U.S. or they'll just want to become a country of their own. I don't know. Either way, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's the same thing as what was happening in the 90s with Quebec. I don't think they'll end up splitting, and Canada would be stupid if they didn't do something to keep them, because realistically, Canada would probably go bankrupt without Alberta. Trump's going to need a bigger ice. If they would just allow the citizens of the U.S. to make it so uncomfortable to live here for border jumpers, it would solve some of it. Kind of like living around black. I can't believe I read that. I can't believe I didn't pre-read that. Joe, the hell, man? You're just going to get my channel kicked. That was a comment. YouTube. I'm reading a comment. It's not from my brain. It's from Joe's bad brain. I wonder if they'll give me $1,000 to go to Austria. No, they might. YouTube might send you. That's what Posse. What's that? Commodus is for Joe. Posse Commodus. I don't know what that means. You got me on that one. Fucking Robert, you're too smart, man. Shiloh is the woman at the park that called the little kid an N. Oh. I didn't know that story. I should look that up, I suppose. That's fun. Oh, people are fun. We call them K words here. Jeez. It's good to see racism alive and well, everyone. Like I said, I think it'd be hilarious if there were good racist terms for white people, but there just aren't. I don't know. They're just dumb. They're all dumb. Nobody's really using them. They don't really hurt our feelings or anything. I don't know, but whatever. She raised $600,000. Oh, really? I don't know. Not sure how I missed the story, buddy. I miss some stories. Sometimes I miss stuff. I just, I'm busy, man. I'm busy all the time lately. Just crazy. I got 1,000 jobs kicking around. I got my own flip going that I'm trying to do, but I'm also juggling these jobs and I'm trying to get everything done, and might have to start hiring some people. I don't know. The hiring people thing, that's the worst. I like subbing stuff out, but if I hire a bunch of people, then it changes the whole thing. I have to worry about all kinds of other stuff, insurance and WSIB and all that crap. But yeah, so yeah, I'm busy, man. That's how I miss these stories. I'm gonna have to go look after. Bigotry is a game everybody can play. I agree, man. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's fun to be a little bit of a bigot, little bit of a racist, little bit of a stereotyper. Sometimes, as long as it's not, you can't have the hatred in there. Hatred makes it stupid. But when it's funny, sometimes it's funny to make fun of, brown people or black people or white people or whatever. You make fun of people for various different things. You could, I don't know. A lot of things to say about white people, but they're just not they just don't stick as hard, I guess. All right, let me get to the last thing here. Then we'll just talk shit and then call it. Oops. All right, so amid a housing crisis, you'd think that there wouldn't be problems with vacant condos in one of Canada's biggest cities, but you'd be wrong. So Toronto has an unsold condo problem, big condo problem in the city. It's been going on for a few years now, been getting worse and worse and worse, and it doesn't seem to have any end to it. I'm going to read this. This is CTV News. Again, this is two articles from these guys. When you're talking about Canada, it's hard to get away from CTV News or CBC or one of these other dog shit outlets, but let's see what they have to say about this. So Toronto's unsold condo rate has reached an incredible level. In Canada's largest housing market, the number of unsold condominiums keeps rising. It has reached an incredible level. Ron Butler, principal broker at Butler Mortgage, told BNN Bloomberg in a Monday interview. We have about 1 full year's inventory, and that seems to continue up and up and up in terms of listings. There's really no sign that it's going to level off or that there's going to be any reduction in the near term. Butler said that there's been severe overbuilding in the Toronto condo market for a number of years, specifically when it comes to smaller units. The tiniest of tiny condos, it's weird that in a country like Canada, where there's been a consistent housing crisis for the last 10 years, that if you build a very bad product, people won't take it. It's as simple as that. Butler said many of the unsold condos on the market today are ones designed for investors or real estate speculators and are not practical for most families. They are roughly the size of a large hotel room, only meant to be rented out, and there's been simply a massive overbuilding of non-family units, he said, noting that many of the condos for sale in Toronto currently are 500 square feet or less. Butler said that in Toronto, there is now roughly a 30% failure rate for condo closings, meaning many buyers are simply walking away from their pre-construction deposits. I'm going to tell you part of the problem of this. So this kind of started to happen pre-COVID. So just before COVID and as COVID hit, so you started to see a little bit of they were being built a lot. So there was a big boom in Canadian real estate for a while, and then it started to taper off a little bit. Then COVID hit and it just shuttered. It stopped. There was no more building. There was it just died in a day, basically. And then what happened over COVID is a lot of people started to work from home. They allowed that. So all these people that would be buying these condos in Toronto so they can live downtown, work downtown, and be close to work, they didn't have to be anymore. Now they could look into rural areas of Toronto outside, maybe an hour, 2 hours outside of Toronto. You saw that a lot with Barrie. Barrie boomed. Kitchener-Waterloo, areas like that, Hamilton. All these areas outside of Toronto, they started to boom because people could buy more, get more property for less and not have to, live in Toronto essentially. So that's what was happening. So you had that coupling with this downturn in the market. Man, it just made for a complete shit show for these guys who were making crazy amounts of money on these condos. And then they were sitting vacant. A lot of these guys had multiple condos sitting vacant, and now they're just paying the taxes on them. They can't rent them. They can't do anything with them. They can't even sell them. So nobody's buying them. Literally, people are just walking away from these things. So it really is a shit show. And like I said, it doesn't seem like it's getting any better. Butler said that in Toronto, there is now roughly a 30% failure rate for condo closings, meaning many buyers are simply walking away from their pre-construction deposits. Jeez. Some of these people will be litigated, but developers let the rest of the condo units close, and then a few months later, they start to sell the other units that didn't close at a substantial discount into a weak market with more and more inventory pouring in all the time. Butler noted that condo market trouble isn't just contained to Toronto, and that markets in BC and Alberta are also showing signs of weakness. In Surrey, BC, the market is full of pricing errors, he argued. When you're looking 5 or 6 years into the future and saying, yes, I believe that the new price level will be X 6 years from now, and is nowhere near X, you run into a severe problem. So what he's talking about there is, you buy it 5-6 years ago, and you buy it on a hot market, and then they build it, and you're expected to pay that hot market price from back then because you've already locked yourself into it. So a lot of these people are saying, fuck that. I'm not gonna pay that, and just kind of walking away, losing their deposits. But, it's better than the alternative. Like, their deposit's less than what the overage they have to pay. So they're just walking away. And obviously they're going to probably try and sue them. Good luck. Because there's stuff just down the road that's selling for 25% less, or how do you justify that extremely high price? It just doesn't work. Even Calgary, which has historically avoided the type of market pressures seen in larger cities like Vancouver and Toronto, is showing signs of overbuilding in its condo space. When looking at the overall housing market in the Greater Toronto area, Butler said that the downtown core has yet to see any significant price reductions from recent levels, but that isn't the case in the suburbs. There are significant reductions if you look at Durham region, the far regions of Peel, which these are outside. These are all like suburbs of Toronto. In the York region, there's definitely been absolutely a substantial price reduction, in some cases 15 to 20% down. Again, so how are you going to compete with that? You got these price reductions of these condos that are already built, and people are selling them, and they're selling them at the reduction, as opposed to these ones that they've committed to build. They've taken the deposits, and people are they're like, I don't want to pay that price for it anymore. It doesn't make any sense. I'm into negative equity the minute I get into this thing, and with the interest rates kind of, a little dodgy lately as opposed to what they were 5 years ago. People are worried, right? They're going to get into heavy mortgages and, maybe not be able to pay them. So a lot of problems. It's really strange when you think about it. The fact that we got this massive housing crisis in Canada, and we have all these condos that are, that are either being walked away from or vacant. So it's quite a mess. It's a multi-tier mess. So they definitely have to do something about this. Hopefully the Carney government has a plan for this or will do something, but I don't know. I'm going to hold my breath for it. We got saying here. Hard barked would be more delicate way to put it. You will live in the pod. Yeah, you will live in the pod and eat the bugs, as Tim Pool likes to say all the time. It's troublesome because realistically, what do you expect these people to do? They went to buy these condos 5-6 years ago, and they're locked in at an expensive price, and they're not going to be able to afford it. So there should be something. The government should step in and say, look, okay, we're gonna do something. We're gonna subsidize this somehow, make it a little softer landing, but force people into you. You made the commitment to buy it. They should do like some kind of, where they step in and say, we're going to cover a percentage of the difference of the price. Let's say 50. So in other words, both sides are going to eat a little bit of shit, right? You're each going to have a little bite of the shit sandwich. The government will step in and say, okay, we're going to do it. As a taxpayer, I'd be for that. In order to try and fix that market, I'd be for that. But then you got to step in and regulate it. You got to step in and say, all right, there's no more of this inflation of these, this hyperinflation of this, the condo market essentially in Toronto. You've got to figure out how to clean it up, and it's not going to clean itself up. So you're going to have to step in and do something. It's going to be throw a little bit of money at it, throw a little bit of effort at it, and do something. But we'll see what Carney does. I don't think the housing thing is high on his list at this point. I think it's more green initiatives and all this crap. I think that's what I feel like. Because the first thing it seems he's doing is putting a carbon tax on industries now. So I don't know. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I want him to be all over this housing crisis, but just I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope for it. We saying here, the able-bodied man over 15 in a given country who can be summoned by the sheriff to help keep the peace or arrest a felon. Also a group of men so gathered. Oh, that's the posse contatus. Connotatus. Posse connotatus. Never heard of that, but that's cool. Over 15. That would be useless now. Over 15? There's no 15-year-olds now that are like men. They're all a bunch of little sissies. A bunch of blue-haired sissies. Now, you need... That would work back in the day, sure. Back when, you get a 13, 14-year-old kid going to fight. Open a bottle of Cabernet. Cheers. Cheers, brother. Getting bloody chilly here in nights. We were 1870 Mamsel here. What's 1870 Mamsel? You've got some weird things that I don't understand. I don't know what that even means. 1870 Mamsel? Do you think the builders are going to accept eating a shit sandwich? Well, they have to. What are you going to do? They're either going to eat the shit sandwich now, the way it is, without any help, or they're going to eat part of the shit sandwich. It's like everybody, anytime there's something like that, anytime, okay, for example, you get a business that's going out of business, right? And they owe a bunch of debtors. They owe X amount of money, but they have to pay first. They have to pay their employees, all that kind of stuff. All the debtors are lining up to get their money, but they're not going to get all of it, but they hope to get some. So they're going to work out deals to try and get what they can. Right? It's no different than when something goes through a collection agency or something like that. And so the debtor sells the debt to a collection agency at whatever, 20%. And then the collection agency tries to recoup what they can, to try and make money on it. Everybody in that case is going to eat a shit sandwich. Actually, technically, except for the borrower. The borrower is the only one that gets away with something, except the shit sandwich is that their credit sucks. But you know what I mean? Like it's a shitty deal that everybody has to kind of figure out how to fix, and it's not gonna taste good. to stop the inflation, you have to stop the current currency debasement via stimulus. Yeah, well, yeah, well, yeah, you have to stimulate the economy somehow, and to stimulate the economy, I mean, a really good way to stimulate the economy right now would be to stimulate the housing market. But this, like what we're talking about with the condo market in Toronto, that market, unfortunately, that market got away from them. It went too hot for too long, and then people, uh, it's almost like they didn't get out early enough, right? So they're buying in 5, 6, 7 years ago. They're buying in, and then the crash happens, and now they're all stuck. So they're the ones just holding the bag. But yeah, you're right, 100%. Of course, the best way to stop inflation is to stimulate the economy. But stimulating the economy organically, or without some type of government, whatever influence, or whatever, the government stepping in and doing something at this point now. Oh, I don't know. Either they just have to step out completely, let things collapse, or they have to step in and kind of, hold things together and get everyone, actually, buying and get the what do you call it? The supply of housing up, and getting, the costs all down. So I don't know. We're kind of in like a weird, everything is in flux time right now. So it's like you got to fix a couple things to get other things to go. But right now, worst time for these this tariff shit too, right? So comatosis, comatosis. Mamsel meters above mean sea level. Okay. See, look at that. You got all kinds of stuff over there that you say that I have no idea. It's funny they use meters, at least. Good way to stimulate candidates to let Trump at it. Well, yeah, that's not. I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think he could do some things over here. I mean, the best way to stimulate Canada, that was a funny slip. Like Panama. The best way to sort of stimulate Canada would be to, for one, you just got to stop spending like crazy. You got to slow down the government. You got to, I'm not saying to necessarily cut everything, but maybe stop the spending. Carney just basically committed to spending another like $230 billion. That's cool. Yeah. I don't know where we have that money, but okay. Yeah, go ahead and spend it. Spend the money that we don't have. Just drive us into bankruptcy. But yeah, trust the government. Yeah, he stimulates Canucks no end apparently. Yeah, there's I don't know what happens. We went through this kind of in the 90s as well. I mean, I don't really remember because I was just a kid, but we were at 167% debt to GDP ratio, but we didn't. The difference was our GDP was better. Our growth was better than it is right now at 0.5%, which is disgusting. So, this makes where the collapse seems more imminent now than it did then. That's like saying all the world needs is to get rid of the corrupt leaders. Oh, kumbaya, brother. Kumbaya. Yeah, actually, you know what? That's not even true. I've said this before. I don't mind corrupt people. I don't mind corrupt leaders. If like leaders that will enrich themselves, that's cool. That's normal. That's how the world went around that way. It went around forever that way. And it was fine. It didn't really, it wasn't the problem. Now it's not that. It's more the corruption of where they're destroying. It's almost seems like they're destroying economies and livelihoods for another purpose. And whatever, you can get all tinfoil hat all you like and say it's something to do with like Agenda 2030 or all these different things, but it does seem like something like that. Like they're doing things to destroy the middle class, and and business owners and all this kind of stuff. But I don't know. I went way off on this on this tangent over here. We should have never given all our manufacturing to China. None of us would be in the slow economic growth problem. Yeah, true. 100%. Yeah. I mean, that was like a slow burn. That's what that was. It was like, oh, China will do this cheaper. Okay, cool. Ship it off to China. Oh, China will do this cheaper. Oh, cool. Ship it off to China. China will do this. And eventually it's China's doing everything for cheaper. And how do you compete? It's like I use the old adage of saying, you want to fix the economy by shopping like local, shopping small stores and stuff to support the middle class and that. But if you're not making the kind of money to be able to do that, how don't you shop at Walmart? How don't you shop at the big box stores that things are cheaper, Costco or Sam's Club or whatever you guys have in the States? How are you not going to do that? You just can't afford to not do that. You can't afford to be giving all your money, spending your money at a store where things are 40-50% more expensive because they don't have the kind of buying ability as a Walmart does or Sam's Club or Costco or whatever, right? So it's the problem. It's like you slowly get into it, but then you just can't get out. It's like quicksand, essentially. You're in this thing and you're just slowly in it, and before you know it, you're like, oh, I can't. What am I gonna do? I can't do anything about this. I can't get out of it. And then you fast track it with something like COVID, where a ton of small businesses close, and how do you get it back? I don't know. It's like it has to be big government reform, but doesn't seem like anybody's ready for that, especially up here in Canada. I mean, we had a chance for potential reform, but nobody wanted to vote for it. So scary stuff, man. What to say? All right. Anyways, let me switch cameras here. I don't need to have that up anymore. But all right. Well, hey, it's 47 minutes. That's about it. That's about all I got. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being in on the chat with me. It's always better. Thanks, Artie, for jumping in with your comment there. Robert, Joe, always a pleasure, boys. Yeah, if you have been watching the podcast and you like the podcast and you're not yet a subscriber, do subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support it. Also, look for the live broadcast on Mondays at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Jump in the chat. Get in there. I'll talk to you. Joe will talk to you. Robert will talk to you. Other guys, Art, that get in the chat, they'll talk to you. If you got something good to say it. Even if you don't, get in there, say it. We'll make fun of you. Make fun of you if it's stupid. Also, look for videos during the week between Tuesday and Sunday, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll drop them then. I don't drop very many. I might drop 2 this week. And comment, like, share, all that kind of stuff. The engagement helps a small channel. So if you like the channel and you want it to keep going, best way to support it is that way right there. I don't make any money, so this is a free adventure for me right at this point. So yeah. So if you want to support it, that's the way to support it. That's it. That's it for me. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go get something to eat. I got a bit of work to do, so I'm gonna go get some work done. And yeah. And you guys have a great night. See you next week, brother. If you're in Windhoek. Well, if you're in Windhoek, I'll see you next week, Robert. Joe, of course, I'll see you next week, buddy. Everyone else, take care, and we'll see you on the next one.